We're bringing out the stars on PHNX Sun Devils. Let's have a fun Friday. Happy Friday and welcome into PHNX Sun Devils, of course, presented by Branded Bills. Head to brandedbills.com. Use code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. And first order of business is welcoming in all of our members and viewers and diehards coming in today on a Friday afternoon to talk about the number 25 team in the country, despite being on a bye week and despite being abandoned by my good friend, the driver of this program, Anthony Totri. We still have a very, very fun show in store for you today. Of course, I'm Erik Ruby, joined as always by the deli man behind his own Mac, making all of the magic happen. But we are not the only two that will be on the show today. I'll be joined by Brad Denny of Speak of the Devils. That'll be coming up here in just about 9 or so minutes. Ralph Amsden will be back to talk about Arizona State recruiting. That, of course, is for David S., who joined as a member yesterday. He said, I'll join if you guys talk about recruiting. Well, guess what? If you're a member, we're going to do what you want us to do. We're going to talk about recruiting, and then a very, very special guest coming up for Hot or Not at the end of the program. Very near and dear to this program's heart. But let's settle in, grab a drink, grab a snack, as Anthony Totri would say, and let's just talk about how Arizona State can still win big despite not having a game this weekend. And the reason why I say that is because there is still a lot, and I mean a lot, of Big 12 action to look forward to. I'm going to start off. We'll tease some of the bigger games. We'll tease the Iowa States. We'll tease the Texas, and I'll talk about them second and third. I kind of want to talk about a wild card game, and of course, it's the game that's going down tonight. It's West Virginia University taking on undefeated BYU. This is a game that BYU absolutely should win. Like, there's no reason why BYU should not win this game. That being said, with the Pac-12ification of the Big 12, we'll see what West Virginia can do. Now, listen, BYU number 23 in the country, 4-0 at home against West Virginia. This is a pretty big game for BYU simply because they did play a lower-end Big 12 team last weekend in Colorado, who I do believe is better than West Virginia, but they struggled and they barely won that game, took some heroics at the end from Bear Bachmeier and company to pull out that victory. And you are now playing a West Virginia team that is a bottom tier team in this conference. You're the number 23 ranked team in the country. And if you are to be taken seriously, you're going to need to continue to do what you did the first couple of weeks of the season, which is dominate completely inferior opponents. That being said, if BYU gets handed a loss tonight, that does shake up not just the AP Top 25, but the Big 12 in general, because that's not a good loss for BYU. Might not come back to bite them when it comes to tiebreakers, but you look at BYU's schedule and you say they should be picking up maybe all but one win over the next couple of weeks. Deli Man, do you feel like our Mountaineers, our West Virginians, have a chance against number 23 BYU?
No, I was really high on them after that. The backyard brawl, and then they just looked like West Virginia. I forget who said it. Somebody said that Rich Rod doesn't have the players to do Rich Rod things, and I feel like that is encapsulating this entire team. They're just not good enough.
Yeah.
Just simply put, they're just not good enough.
And then the quarterback rankings that Anthony Totri and I talked about earlier this week was that they have two quarterbacks that could do a little bit of one thing, but can't do everything that Rich Rod needs them to do. Yeah, I certainly think that this is a win for BYU, but I've thought that about a lot of teams so far this year. And well, it doesn't always work out that way. So we'll be watching that tonight, 7:30 kickoff. Actually, we won't be watching that. You want to know what we will be watching, Deli Man? We're going to be watching hockey, because hockey is back in the Valley. Arizona State, number 14 in the country, hosting Penn State on NHL Network and at Mullet Arena. Big shout out to ASU hockey. Hockey belongs in the desert. If you missed PHNX hockey, they had a show yesterday about hockey potentially coming back to the desert. So make sure you go back and you watch that tonight. And then you could check the box score for BYU, West Virginia, because all signs point to BYU picking up a win there. But let's talk about the two most important games tomorrow. Tomorrow, because it is Friday. Let's talk about Iowa State, Cincinnati. Cincinnati is actually favored in this game at home against the number 14 team in the country, undefeated Iowa State. Now, that in a large part due to the injuries that Iowa State has been sustaining. Cincinnati's been playing well, especially Brendan Sorsby, according to ESPN, a top 6 quarterback in the country at home against Iowa State. I mean, if Cincinnati gets a win here tomorrow, they're going to be 4-1. And Iowa State will be handed their first Big 12 loss, which in turn could lead Arizona State, if Iowa State continues to kind of go on this downward spiral, to go on this downward path, when ASU and Iowa State match up in a couple of weeks, that could be the loss that potentially puts them out of contention with 2 Big 12 losses about halfway through Big 12 play. Tomorrow is a massive game for Rocco Beck. Tomorrow is a massive game for Iowa State, but it's a huge opportunity for Cincinnati and Shane's favorite quarterback, Brendan Sorsby. Do you feel like Cincinnati deserves to be favored, Deli Man?
Yes, probably.
Because you're a huge Brendan Sorsby fan. Yes, I know. Yeah, but I think Cincinnati deserves to be favored too, as crazy as it sounds. I mean, 3-1 for Cincinnati. Obviously, their big win coming last week against Kansas and Jalen Daniels, who put up 500 total yards of offense. And I think if Cincinnati wins this game, there's going to be some overreaction. I think there's going to be some crowning as like Cincinnati to be some dark horse in contention, to make it to the Big 12 championship. But I really do wonder how good Iowa State is going to end up being if they continue to sustain more injuries. And even so, they are 5-0, but you look at who they beat and how they beat them. I mean, I wouldn't say Iowa State has a signature win this year. That being said, I believe this would be their signature win of the year. This is the hardest team they've played. This is the best quarterback that they've played. And this is not an easy environment in Cincinnati. And Arizona State fans should know that, especially a 9 a.m., I guess, local time kickoff in Cincinnati is one of the few losses that Arizona State was handed last year. And this would vault Cincinnati into at least the conversation of, are you able to be a top team in this conference? But I think no game is more indicative of that than 4 p.m. kickoff local time. Texas Tech, Houston, 8-0 combined record. Houston undefeated, Texas Tech undefeated. Houston hosting the number 11 team in the country. Well, I think a lot of people are writing Houston off, and I would pick Texas Tech in this game. If Houston beats Tech, or if Tech beats Houston, which are the only two options here, these are two teams that Arizona State are going to be playing in the next couple of weeks. And these are two teams that would then, if Arizona State takes care of business and is able to either go 4-0 or 3-1 with a loss to Utah or a loss to Iowa State and taking care of those two teams in the middle, would then hand them their second conference loss. And for Arizona State, who has no conference losses yet, if they only get one over the next 4 weeks, giving two to, yes, a Houston team who's probably not in contention, but more importantly, a Texas Tech team that absolutely is in contention, is widely considered the best team in the Big 12. You do that, and you are comfortably ahead of them in the Big 12 standings. Are we all Cougs fans this weekend? Are we all rooting for Houston to beat Texas Tech, or do we want Tech to win so that when Arizona State plays Tech in a couple of weeks, if ASU takes care of business against Utah, that's game day? Shane, where are you sitting? Are you rooting for Houston this weekend? Or are you rooting for the power of money?
The good teams in this conference need to beat the bad teams in this conference. And I know Houston's undefeated, but let's be real. The good teams in this conference need to beat the bad teams in this conference to gain respect nationally. Like the national perception of this conference is that it's just kind of like a crapshoot and nobody really knows who's good, and that's why we still believe that this conference is going to be a one-team bid conference. You have to have the top teams be dominant. You have to have the big brands be the big brands. Texas Tech has to be a good team this year if the Big 12 wants to garner any respect.
Yeah, I do agree from a national perspective. However, if ASU wants to gain ground on Texas Tech, who I do believe is going to be a contender, if not the number one contender for the Big 12 championship and to be in there, Houston, even if they beat Tech, I still wouldn't put in that conversation. Maybe that's poor judgment by me. To give Texas Tech a loss would help ASU gain ground, and I do think.
Well, you know how you gain ground on Texas. You know how you gain ground on Texas Tech is you beat them, and then you have a tiebreaker over them, and you can control your own destiny. So that's irrelevant to me this early right now. And if Houston beat Texas Tech, that would be pretty ridiculous to say that they aren't in the conversation, because now they just usurped the best team.
Yeah, they're a top 20 team in the country if they do that? 5-0 with a win over the number 11 team in the country?
They would definitely be in the top 25, yeah.
Jeez. Could you imagine Houston being in the top? That would be crazy. I think there's really no, I guess, worst case scenario for ASU this weekend, which is why they could still win this bye. Texas Tech gets the win. Texas Tech remains undefeated. Texas Tech gets one step closer to being, a top 10 team in the country, to being a team that could warrant game day in Tempe. And Arizona State, if they take care of business, helps get there as well against Utah. Obviously, Utah is off. Both teams are on a bye week. And then if BYU wins, then okay, the good teams in the conference continue to be the good teams. They're undefeated. If they lose, then that kind of shows that there is a fraud, quote unquote, contender in the top 25. Because I think if BYU loses to West Virginia at home, that's a massive red flag. If Iowa State wins, okay, well, Iowa State continues to be chugging along and their record will be better when they play Arizona State in a couple of weeks. If Cincinnati wins and knocks down Iowa State a peg, well, maybe that is a contender taken off of the board due to injuries or whatever it might be. And yes, Cincinnati could be in the conversation as well. The same way with Houston, though, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily totally scared of them, and maybe that would be wrong, or how they win that game might be wrong as well. But I wouldn't say Iowa State, despite the record, has been utterly dominant so far. Plus, Baylor plays Kansas State. If Baylor picks up a win, that helps Arizona State, obviously, with their record and everything. And Kansas State, if they win, I don't see that being a big deal in the Big 12, although I guess maybe that means they're back on track, but I think they're too far behind the eight ball to really be in contention there. Nobody cares about Arizona, Oklahoma State. TCU, Colorado, I think TCU picks up a win at home against Colorado. I don't even think that one's close. That's going to help Arizona State look good, as all the teams that they've beaten have continued to get better and better and better record-wise. And Kansas, UCF is interesting as well. Kansas has a chance to drop down to 3-3, UCF to 4-1, but hopefully, I think for the Big 12 sake, Kansas can take down a win there. How do you guys think Arizona State should be rooting for in this weekend? Should they be rooting for Houston? Should they be rooting for Texas Tech? Should they be rooting for BYU to pick up a win later tonight? Let me know down in the comments below. We're going to talk to Brad Denny right after our first break. 50% off weed. It's just the best thing about this ad read is 50% off weed at ZenLeaf. Listen, ZenLeaf has you covered with everything. I'm talking flowers, vapes, edibles, and more, all from brands that you trust with locations all across the valley. But not just can you trust it, not just can you enjoy it, but you don't have to burn through your wallet to get it, because for a limited time, you can use promo code ZenPHNX and get you 50% off a one-time purchase. That's 50% off a one-time purchase. You could pick it up before a stacked slate in college football on Saturday. You could do it post-workout. You can order online. You can go in store and have them tell you what would be the best for what you are looking for, because the people at ZenLeaf, well, they're extremely helpful as well, but nothing more helpful than using promo code ZenPHNX for a limited time and getting you 50% off a one-time purchase. That's ZenLeaf. Great weed, great service every single time. And every single time I'm at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, I'm having a good time, because Gila River Resorts and Casinos, quite simply put, nobody does it better. Wild Horse Pass, Lone Butte, V Quiva, Santan Mountain, banger after banger after banger after banger. You can go all in with over 4,500 slots and live table games, or catch any of the action of this college football slate on Saturday, the NFL slate, NBA, WNBA, everything going on at their sports books. You could be a big winner, and from upscale to approachable, from casual to classy, from bar to bar none, their selection of dining options are always in good taste. There is the number one most important rule, though, and that is you do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, visit playatgila.com for more details. Want to give a big shout out to everybody who's here in chat. Sorry I haven't been able to be as interactive with you. I've just been yapping and rambling, but Sixth Pass, Bees, BL, Megan, Parker, Sharon, Paul, Jacob. I mean, I know I'm missing people as well. Alex, Kim, 10 Toes Down MMA, Rob Eichner, Deborah. I mean, we have just a packed house here. Short Bus is here. Stephen Mitchell is here. And guess what? Like 90% of you are members, which is just absolutely incredible. Emily is here as well. McKay is here as well. Ben is here as well. Drop those special emojis in the chat. I'm very excited to share with all of you this conversation that I was able to have with Speak of the Devils, Brad Denny. We talk everything ASU football, so let's just go ahead and get into it. And yes, shout out to my dad as well. It's a bye week for number 25 Arizona State, so we're bringing the Stars. HNX Sun Devils. It's co-host of Speak of the Devils, Brad Denny, covering ASU since 2011, and this is probably one of the more fun teams I'm sure that you've been able to cover. Obviously, Jordan Tyson, Sam Levitt, that's at the top of everybody's mind for sure. But I know you know ball. We know that not everybody knows the Sun Devils like people in Tempe know the Sun Devils. So let's go off the map a little bit. What's an underrated part of this 4-1 team that you want to start by celebrating today?
I think, well, first off, thank you for having me on the show. It's really great to come on. But yeah, more people should be talking about this Sun Devil linebacker group. It has been outstanding. I thought that, last year we saw Keyshawn Elliott, Jordan Crook, once he finally got on the field in the back half of the year, kind of really make some good strides and really, we're solid. But one of the things that Brian Ward told me a while back that I think has really come to fruition these last couple of years is, he says, guys start to understand the why of my system in year two. And now in year two, you're seeing Jordan Crook, Keyshawn Elliott, Cyrus Fiaseu, and Martell Hughes especially. Like, those guys, they understand the why. They are playing so much more instinctively, faster. They're covering sideline to sideline. Obviously, you've seen like Martell Hughes wrapping up the calling game against TCU. That's good right there. It's good for the youngster there. But I have been so impressed with Jordan Crook. And I came into the season with high expectations for Crook and Keyshawn Elliott specifically. And I think so far through this first stretch of games, they've really kind of exceeded that. And they've really been, I think, the key part of an overall very good Sun Devil defense.
Yeah, I mean, this defense has been absolutely suffocating. In fact, I feel like that's what's kept them afloat in a lot of these close games, obviously coming off a big win against TCU where you shut down Josh Hoover in the fourth quarter. Baylor Sawyer Robertson obviously not having his best game against the Sun Devil defense. When you look at the ceiling for this team, and I know going into the season, it's college football playoffs, right? It's Big 12 championship. Do you feel like that the defense is the number one key to that, or do you look at the star power on offense?
I think the defense is going to be the kind of thing that gets them there. I think the offense, for all its issues that it has had so far, and it's kind of flash potential here and there, but the defense, I think, is going to be ultimately the vehicle that will take this Sun Devil team as far as it can go, because obviously there's going to be some daunting opponents coming up for the Devils, some very good offenses, but I think this is a defense that has the potential to be something truly special. And I think the one missing ingredient was the pass rush. It was not really great last year, but these last 2 weeks against some pretty good offenses, they have answered the bell. And the way in that fourth quarter where they're just like, no, we got this, and just really took over. I think that's been outstanding. That was kind of, for me, the one remaining question mark on that defensive side. And I think, at all three levels, they're outstanding. And I just think, for the offense, they're just too good. They'll find a way. And, whether it's, maybe they're not scoring like 35, 37 points a game, like maybe we thought heading into the year. But with this defense, they don't have to. And I think that is going to be ultimately, that consistency on the defensive side of the ball, I think will separate ASU in the end.
Yeah, I think what stands out to me the most, and you could look back to last season with the Sun Devils and all the close games that they won, all the big moments they stepped up with. And if we're talking specifically about the defense, even though both sides of the ball have definitely had a lot to say in that category, last year you look at, Javen Robinson, right, with a massive pick against BYU and so many other defensive stands when the game really matters. Now you're seeing it again in the couple of games that ASU has won after their slower start to the season, is that this defense has stepped up in these big moments. And what's so impressive to me is that it feels like they can get punched. They can get kind of hit a little bit or backpedaling a little bit, and then they bounce back. And I know that 4-1 is great and that there are a lot of people who feel like they still have a lot left on the table. But for me, that's like one of the most important things that a football team can show is like, hey, can you get punched in the mouth and can you bounce back?
That, to me, that was the number one reason why the 2024 Sun Devils were able to do what they did, is having that adversity, or that ability to overcome adversity, that resilient attitude. And we saw it all throughout last year, and it kind of manifested itself really in that record in one score games. And that was something, the first couple weeks of this year, because every team's different, even though, most of the players returned in 2025, but you just, you never know, like, it's characters and the tenor of that, those intangible qualities, are they going to stay the same? And I had some questions, especially that Mississippi State game and how that started and ultimately kind of fell apart at the end after a kind of solid comeback. But these last 2 weeks, I think, have really shown me that this team has that ability to, take a punch, but get up off the mat and come back, and that there's never a game that they're out of, even though they might fall behind and shoot themselves in the foot and be the reason why they are down 17 points early on. But this is a team that, with that veteran leadership, that those guys that have been through the wars a year ago, but I also have been impressed with some of the newer guys that are into that fold as well, that have quickly assimilated to that Sun Devil standard. And, they're doing this all with, on the defensive side without some key pieces in that lineup. Xavier Alford, I thought, has been one of those impactful Sun Devils on and off the field during his time. They're able to, continue to play great defense without him. They're still without their starting slot and Jalen Moss. So, the fact that they're doing this, this bye week came at a great time for them to heal up, but just collectively, that mentality, I thought, has really helped to carry them these last 2 weeks. And and if they're able to kind of continue that like they did in 2024, Big 12 might be on notice.
I mean, I hope that they could continue to replicate that, because I think one of the things that I've really taken away from the start of the season, because I, like a lot of people like you, had questions after the first 2-3 weeks of the season, where it's like, listen, you're coming in as the number 11 team in the country. Right. You're coming in as a Big 12 champion. You're not coming in under the radar. You're not coming in on no preseason watch list. Like, disrespect for this team was putting them outside of the top 15, top 16 teams, right? That's a completely different standard. And then obviously they didn't play to it right off the bat. I feel like, me personally, I've had a lot of questions answered about this team. I know you said so too, but what are some of the questions that you still feel like this team has to prove and answer over the next couple of weeks as they go through a 17-1 4-game gauntlet in the Big 12?
There's two questions that are at the top of my list, both on the offensive side of the ball. Number one, obviously, is the red zone offense. You can't keep coming away with 3 points. And, when your defense is helping you get to like +3 in the turnover margin, but you're only turning that into like 9 points, that might get you a win over Baylor or something like that. But, Utah, Texas Tech, Iowa State on the road, that is simply not going to cut it. So that red zone offense, and I think, obviously there's been a lot of fans that have been a little frustrated with the play calling in the red zone, especially the short red of Marcus Arroyo. I think that plays a part of it. But I also think, looking back, a lot of it's just execution. These guys are pretty talented. I just don't think that they're playing as well. They're moving the ball between the 20s really well, but they're bogging down. And that kind of plays into my second big question, is the offensive line. I thought has not been playing really well. I mean, they've been okay, on the ground game, but I think the interior of the offensive line has really had some issues, and that's obviously something that you're probably missing. Leif Fatanu a lot, or Ben Coleman at his more comfortable left guard spot. But I think this offensive line needs to kind of figure out a way to be better and more impactful in the trenches. in the red zone there. Also, I think pass protection has been pretty plainly poor. Sam Levitt, if not for his his sixth sense and his ability to spin out of stuff, that sack total could be very very troubling. So I think I have those two questions for me are just like, how are they going to be able to finish drives, come away with 7 points? Because you're putting up 500 yards, 400 yards, 50 yards on a regular basis. That's great, but that doesn't win games. You got to get the ball in the end zone. So I think if that offensive line can find a way to step up their game a little bit, find a little bit more cohesion, I still think they're finding their way a little bit with the Ben Coleman switch. But I think that will also probably have a domino effect in helping them in the red zones.
I think the red zone stuff it's obviously the most blatant. I spent a lot of yesterday's show with Ralph Amsden, who's also going to join us a little bit later today to talk about recruiting, talking about the special teams part of everything as well. And a lot of Sun Devil fans have pointed out that special teams has been pretty lackluster. But if I had to pick one out of those three to quote unquote fix in this bye week, it would be that red zone offense. And I think, when we talk about the offense, you talk about Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson and Raleek Brown and just, the depth of high-end talent and big-time playmakers that Kenny Dillingham and Marcus Arroyo have to play with. It's borderline unacceptable. Actually, it is unacceptable, the red zone rate that they're operating at. But to me, the way that last season this offense continued to progress and get better, that Sam Levitt continued to progress and get better and analyze some of their weaknesses, I'm not really worried about them solving it. I feel like going up against Utah is going to be a great test, and I think this bye week is coming at a perfect time. What's your confidence rating that these red zone issues are not going to be apparent once you get closer to the end of the season and maybe through this 4-game stretch of just really tough opponents?
I'd probably peg it somewhere kind of like moderate to maybe high moderate, because so many of these guys are veterans. We've seen them do it. We've seen Sam Levitt play, the quarterback position at a borderline elite level. We know Jordan Tyson is one of the best, if not the best, pass catcher in the country. You have a great tight end and Shimon Mateus and at a depth there. But I just get the offensive line. The headline coming into the year was, 4 returning starters. Well, kind of not really, because you're moving Ben to a new position, and the kind of the domino effect there, and you're still having some struggles at that left guard spot replacing him. So I still think that ultimately it's going to come down to line play. But I do think that for most of these guys, we've seen them do it. And so for me, it's like we know that it's there. We know that Marcus Arroyo can call great games and be a creative play caller. And he, of course, is working hand in hand with Kenny Dillingham and his brilliant offensive mind there. So I would say like I'm more confident that they'll do it than not. But I still just wondering, like that offensive line, those questions I just can't shake as of yet. And you're going to be going up against some pretty formidable, defensive fronts over the next few weeks and during that gauntlet stretch you mentioned. So I think that's going to be a real indication if we're seeing the same issues coming off of a bye. Then that might drop a little bit. But these are guys that have done it before. They're very talented. They know the system well. So I'd expect some improved results with this bye week focus that this coaching staff is putting on those guys in that area.
I think talented is just such a good word to use when describing this team. In fact, I think when you look at the red zone play calling, for sure, I think overall there has still been some play calling on this offense where I've been a little bit, questionable about some certain decisions at certain times. But at the end of the day, their top end talent, you talk about Sam Levitt, who I think has the potential to be a first round pick this year, or even higher if he stays another year. You have Jordan Tyson, who some people peg as the best wide receiver in the country and in the draft. And then, of course, Raleek Brown, who has completely taken the Big 12 by storm, leading in rushing yards after not playing for the last couple of years. When you have that top end talent and you're bailed out by it, you could look at it one of two ways. You could look at it as, oh man, you're getting bailed out by talent. Why are you not setting them up better for success? Or you can look at it as, oh wow, look at this top end talent that you are blessed to have as a team that other teams don't. And you can't teach the latter. You can teach the former. You can't teach the latter. How impressive you've been from what my co-host Totri likes to call the triplets, Raleek Brown, Jordan Tyson, Sam Levitt, and their potentness on offense.
Oh, it's been very impressive. I mean, it's almost gotten to the point where the magic of Levitt to Tyson is, I don't say mundane, but it's just like you expect it. Like these guys have been so good and just so impressive in so many ways that you know at some point it's going to hit. They might, there's been some times where maybe there's been some stretches where it's been off a little bit or ineffective, but eventually that magic's going to drop. And Raleek Brown has really kind of been the revelation, because I thought Kyson Brown coming into the year would be kind of that 1A. I didn't think that we'd see just the dominant bell cow back getting 80% of the touches like we have seen for like the duration of Sean Aguano's tenure here. But I thought that Raleek Brown adding that power over the offseason and running really well would be a very important part. I had questions about whether he could be a guy that gets 20, 25 touches in a game, but so far so good. He's just been really impressive, outside of just kind of the weirdness of Baylor, kind of having some of the more east-west instead of the north-south. I think he kind of figured that out a little bit, got back to what's working for him and best suits his skill set. But yeah, overall, those triplets have been very impressive. Now, one of the, I think I'd like to see a little bit more from Sam and perhaps Marcus Arose as well is, going back to the red zone issues, is we haven't seen a whole lot of Sam using the legs down there as well, where he's been just so dangerous. And I continue to go back to that Mississippi State game, and people want to talk about the defensive play call on that last touchdown, or some other decisions. But for me, it's that goal to go situation of just like kind of run the ball just into a brick wall 3 times instead of like getting Sam out in space and some play action stuff, or just using that weapon that is his mobility to a greater effect in that area, especially in an area in a facet of the game that they've struggled so much. So overall, I think it's been really good. We've seen, some red alert stuff from Sam earlier in the year, but I think over the last couple of weeks, he's really starting to get that swagger and confidence back, which elements that have been such an important part of his game. So I think that, we're starting to see the Sam Levitt of old and the good Sam Levitt kind of shake out those early struggles and get back on track a little bit.
And it's just in time. We've mentioned it. It's called foreshadowing or leaving breadcrumbs. We've been foreshadowing it this entire conversation. These next 4 games, Brad, are just absolutely massive on every single front, not just because they're good teams, but because you are playing teams that are also going to be contending for the Big 12 championship. And the only reason why Arizona State found themselves in the Big 12 championship last year was because of tiebreakers. And these are a couple of teams that you need tiebreakers over. You got 4. It's Utah, it's Texas Tech, it's Houston, who still has not picked up a loss this season, and then it's Iowa State, who's undefeated but is also banged up and injured. I need you to put your Nostradamus hat on. What is the record prediction for the next 4 games for Arizona State against teams with a combined record of 17-1? And by the way, that one loss is Utah to Texas Tech, so they played each other, and that's why there's a loss.
It's so tough. This conference is just like the definition of parity, and just Houston. People might raise an eyebrow at Houston, but like Willie Fritz is a damn good coach, and so in year 2, seeing that success is not surprising to me at all. I do think that obviously right now you're looking at Texas Tech being the biggest hurdle, I think, but you get them at home. So that's huge. And ASU always has that like kind of, that special sauce there, that home cooking that really helps them out there. I think this upcoming week is, the bye week I thought was aptly placed and fortuitously placed for ASU, because they need to rest up, because going up to Utah it's kind of weird how Rice Eccles it's about 50 times harder to play there at night than day. So when they had that night kickoff, like, ooh, that ramps up the degree of difficulty. So I think anything less than 3-1, ASU might be in trouble a little bit in terms of getting the chance of getting back to Arlington. I think they match up really, really well with 3 of those teams. Texas Tech, I'm still kind of wait and see, because like they're really good, but I just one of those kind of like best team money can buy type teams. Sometimes they slip up a little bit after a fast start, so we'll see about that. I'll at this point, knowing things can change quick, I'll say 3-1. I picked Utah as a loss in heading into the season, our preseason predictions, and I'm going to stand by that. I just think it's such a hostile place to play. Getting those next 2 after that at home would be a good way to rebound a little bit. And, with some of the key losses that you mentioned about for Iowa State, plus I just think ASU matches up probably best of all of those big 3 with Iowa State. I think they get it done on the road there.
I appreciate you. Well, thank you for stepping in when we've been on the injury report. I've been abandoned by Anthony Totri. How crazy of him to leave me on a bye week. But I appreciate you joining PHNX Sun Devils, Brad. Appreciate you being such a great voice in this Sun Devil community for such a long time. I feel like so many people in this community deserve the moment that this team is presenting, including the players, but the fans, the media, the people who've been around through the good and through the bad, through Sun Devil fandom for life. So thank you for being a voice for those people. For anybody who's unfamiliar with what you're doing over there at Speak of the Devils with Joe, do you want to just let them know where they can find you, how they can find you, and kind of what you guys are about?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find Speak of the Devils on any podcast platform anywhere we've been around. Yes, and you mentioned since 2011, so a lot of football, Sun Devil football, the ups and downs we talked about over those years. We're also on YouTube, and you can just and we're also actually mentioned on the Arizona's Family Sports Network. We have a TV show now entering season 3. Airs on Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m.
Wow. I mean, big time TV show everywhere you can find stuff around for a long time. Definitely give them a follow. We appreciate you joining us. We'll have to tap in with you again sometime through the season and check in to see how you're feeling about our Arizona State Sun Devils.
Awesome. Definitely. Always happy to talk some ball. Thanks for having me on.
I mean, what a great conversation with Brad Denny. And we have an appearance from Shimon Mateer in the chat. Are you kidding me? I mean, first of all, hope that it's real, right? I guess you can never really tell, but I'm going to choose to assume that this is real. I mean, this is what PHNX Sun Devils does, right? This is what we do as a community. So we appreciate Shimon joining us. Shimon, hey, hit that like button, man. Hit that subscribe button too. And I know that y'all got a lot of questions for him in the chat. And hey, if you want to join Shimon, just slide into PHNX Sun Devils DMs and we can see what we can do. Listen, we appreciate you being here. He said it's the real, the one and only Take 'em Deep. I mean, listen, I'm going to choose to believe it. And that is absolutely what I love to see. Keep on firing off questions. We're going to have Ralph Amsden join here in just a second to talk about the future of Arizona State football and their upcoming recruiting class. We have a special guest joining for Hot or Not later in the show. We're going to get to all of that, plus continue to apparently ask Arizona State's tight end one, all Big 12 tight end, Shimon Mateer, in the chat. Whatever question we feel like, we're going to do it right after our final break. Listen, Shimon was just asked if he could block a truck. He said, I can block anything, but you can't block these deals that you can get at Circle K, because when you are a member of the Inner Circle, not only do you get deals on gas, you get deals on Polar Pops, Frosters, 3 for $5 Gatorade 28 ounces. You get meal deals. That's a $3 meal deal with a hot dog or a tornado with a side of chips and a Polar Pop up to 44 ounces. That's just $3. $3. How about a $4 meal deal? Circle K breakfast sandwich, side of a hash brown, any flavor, 16-ounce energy drink or medium coffee or Polar Pop, or how about a $5 meal deal? 2 slices of pizza and any 20-ounce soda or Polar Pop. They just have it all at Circle K, but plus, of course, deals on gas. But you ask me, Eric, how do I get these deals? Well, let me tell you. You get them by joining the Inner Circle. And how do you join the Inner Circle? You download the Circle K app today. All you got to do, you pull out your phone, you download the Circle K app today, you put in your phone number, you put in your email, and boom, you are automatically taking money off of that total. So make sure you join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for full details. Also, love giving big shout outs to Mountain America Credit Union. We know Shimon loves playing at Mountain America Stadium, and Mountain America Credit Union is a proud sponsor of Arizona State University. And of course, they have Mountain America Stadium, but they also donate $250 to support university athletics for every field goal made. They provide $20,000 in scholarships to local student athletes every single year. Plus, they sponsor a shoe donation program to award brand new shoes to community members in need. Mountain America is dedicated to guiding members and communities forward. And of course, they love Arizona State, and you can always experience the greatness of Mountain America Credit Union at Mountain America Stadium. By the way, a place that the Sun Devils, they don't really know how to lose there as of late. A great home field advantage, home of the best fans in the Big 12, and of course, home of the most supporting for Mountain America Credit Union. Learn more at macu.com/ASU, insured by NCUA. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Loans are on approved credit. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member today. Hey, can we show off the special emojis to Shaman? Can we show them off? Can y'all spam the forks up, spam the Sparky, spam the Kenny Dillingham face? Can we let them know what we're about here at the PHNX Sun Devils chat? Because I'm telling you, we're different. We're different over here. You got to let them know. You got to let them know. We'll be joined by Ralph here in just a little bit, but a really fantastic conversation with Brad Denny of Speak of the Devils. Really, really good stuff there. I mean, this is what I love to see. I mean, Shane, look at all the emojis in the chat right now. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Sean says that the Shaman account is just his burner, and that's not true. But look, Shaman saying chat going crazy. Shaman, you can get access to it too. All you gotta do is hit that join button. It's right next to the subscribe button. That's all I'm saying. Listen, we appreciate everybody joining us here today as we wait for Ralph to join. I do want to give a shout out to Sun Devil Hockey. I want to make sure that I know it's a busy day. You got Mercury finals tonight. You got a Suns preseason game and everything of the sort. But I just want to give a really, really, really big shout out to Sun Devil Hockey, Greg Powers and that program hosting Penn State nationally televised on NHL Network and a bunch of other TV networks as well. It is honestly just so amazing to see where that program has gone, where they started from, and where they will continue to go. But to talk about where the Sun Devils are going to continue to go, we bring on our GOAT, my GOAT, everybody's GOAT. It's Ralph Amsden. Yesterday, we talked about the team currently. Ralph, you ready to talk a little recruiting?
Yeah, we can talk about the future a little bit. How deep in the future do we even think about anymore with the portal? Are we worried about any of these high school kids?
I mean, I'm relatively worried about it, but I wouldn't say it's like worried in a sense of like, oh gosh, if we don't do this, we're screwed. But I think it's still important, right? It's important for a couple of reasons. It's important because you can get this homegrown talent. You look at some of the guys that ASU has had as homegrown talent that are currently on this roster. They're great complements with the amazing talent they've gone and gotten in the transfer portal as well. But I think you still need to get guys like AJ Ia is somebody that Sun Devil fans are excited for the future. You look at a guy like CJ Fight, who's been here for his entire career. So looking ahead at just this next recruiting class, Ralph, what's your just overarching takeaway on the next fresh batch of Sun Devils that will be coming to Tempe next year?
When I look at the commits in the class of 2026 so far, it really feels like this is the first time Arizona State has collected a very specific type of player. Because if you look at the roster as it's constructed right now, you can pick out some of these guys in their recruiting class and say, "Oh, I see you're the next X or you're the next Y," And so that's been the really interesting thing about the class of 2026 is it fits the identity of what Arizona State is already building toward. It's not the most overly talented or filled with accolades recruiting class Arizona State has ever had, and locally it's 2026 is not the year. I think they've got two of the top 50 guys in the state of Arizona coming in this class. I think 2027 is where they've started to exert some of that effort and are hoping that some of it pays off. But I've maintained, even though I have a reputation as the exact opposite, and I've never understood why, I have maintained always that you go and get the best players that can help you win. The only thing I ask of Arizona State staff to do locally is their due diligence. Do you know who these players are? Do you know what they're capable of? If you were recruiting them and you've decided they're not for you, did you communicate that to the prospect? Are your relationships with the high school coaches eroding, or are you maintaining them? Those have all been issues of previous staffs, and I've been critical of those things. But at the end of the day, when you're in a situation where if somebody's good enough to go and get a bag elsewhere and you can exist as a backstop for them, I don't think you need to get everybody or just get guys just to say that you got guys out of your home state. So when I look at this recruiting class, it's not going to have a lot of local homegrown talent on it, but it is going to have a lot of people who fit the blueprint of what Arizona State is already doing. And I picked out 3 players that I want to go over with you that I think actually will be impact guys. It's hard to project now with the portal, but I think the 3 guys that I've identified are not only going to be good, but go on to be some possible fan favorites.
Well, as excited as I am to hear that, you said one thing that kind of piqued my interest is that you heard, obviously, and I think this is kind of widely known, that some past regimes have not done their due diligence, have not been at their best when it came to local recruiting. What have you heard about this regime, about Kenny Dillingham's regime, and the due diligence, the community building that they've done locally in Arizona when it comes to high school football?
Well, the thing about Kenny Dillingham that you have to remember is he was a high school coach in the state of Arizona. He had a lot of these relationships anyway. There was a 4-year period when the high-level prospects in the state of Arizona had offers from Memphis, Florida State, Auburn, and Oregon. Those 4 schools have nothing in common and are nowhere near the state of Arizona. The only reason kids had those exact 4 offers was Kenny Dillingham maintaining a relationship with local high school recruits as he traveled the country in search of eventually getting this Arizona State job. He understands the importance of being on the same page with the coaches in the state of Arizona, but you also have to be very honest with them. What is their opportunity going to be out of high school? Do they fit into your system? If somebody is outbidding you and you don't think that that player is going to be an impact player in year 1 and year 2, scale your resources back, because your internal philosophy has always been that you're going to reward people who show up. So, if people ever pop back into the portal, then, keep an open mind. Then Cole Martin momentarily, who's, now at UCLA, who knows, maybe he'll make a second return trip to Arizona State University, can be part of the PHNX family again. But, there's a lot of players who have left. They might not get the opportunity that they like right away. And it could be an option to get them back, as they have with a few defensive linemen, with a couple of defensive backs, with some players on the offensive end as well. This is just going to be the new strategy. And so I think as long as you're being honest and you show up on campus, Arizona high school coaches are cool with you. There's really only 1 or 2 staffs right now that I think maybe feel some type of way that Arizona State's not showing up enough. Maybe like a Desert Edge, which actually has the highest concentration of D1 prospects, but none of them are going to Arizona State. And so, as long as you're touching base with these programs, cool. But there's a difference between somebody feeling like you're not doing a good job and them just wanting guys to stay local and they're committing elsewhere. Right now, I think that Arizona State knows exactly who is out there that they actually have a legitimate shot with, that can come in and make an impact early. But in the class of 2026 in the state of Arizona, there's not a lot of impact freshmen.
Yeah. Before we continue going on the high school route, this has been a historic day for PHNX Sun Devils chat. So we had Shaman. Shaman's still in here right now. Champ Westbrooks has also joined in the chat
This is incredible
right now. And Shaman is saying, should I get Jeff Sims, Malik McLean, and some other tight ends in the chat? If Malik McLean should be in the chat of any show, it's this one. I've put my flag on Malik McLean Island. Again, I believe we have Wes Beasy in the chat, who is Champ's father, saying that the champ is legit. Now, I think Shaman is legit as well. I'm going to choose to believe that Shaman's legit. Let's see if we can get anybody else here in the chat. But this is just, this is so funny to me too, Ralph, because it's all happening when Totri isn't here. Like, I told him he was going to have FOMO, man. I told him he was going to have FOMO. Now he definitely is going to have FOMO.
I'm having a little bit of anxiety right now because on Speak of the Devils this week, they asked what my biggest disappointment was of the first half of the season. And I was like, I want Mateo to get the ball more. I thought he was in here waiting for me,
waiting for you. Listen, I think everybody wants Shaman to get the ball more, man. Yeah. Shaman makes plays happen, right? And listen, Shaman's been awesome. I'm not just saying this because he's in the chat, but like Shaman has been awesome. I think everybody in here is high on Shaman. This is so great. I'm sorry to get a little bit distracted off of what we're supposed to be talking about here, Ralph, but we'll see if any other players join. And anytime y'all see a player chat, just spam the emojis, spam the Kenny emoji, spam the Sparky emoji, spam the forks up emoji. Like, let them know what we're about here so that they want to come back and party with us. You mentioned 3 guys.
Yeah.
Ralph, I'm fascinated to hear if you had to highlight 3 guys out of the 2026 recruiting class. I know it's hard to predict. I'm not going to hold you to this, but just right now, what does your gut tell you? Who are the 3?
Well, I do like Jake Fetty. I like the quarterback that they're bringing in out of Del Valley High School in El Paso, Texas. it's really, really hard for me to talk about him to Arizona State fans, because sometimes someone will feel some type of way about a player that you compare them to. And Jake Fetty reminds me of Blake Shapen. I think that's a good thing. I think that's somebody that is an SEC starting quarterback right now, has the ability to run, not a lot of nonsense in what he does when he does run the ball, but he is athletic. He's 6'2". He can throw the deep ball. He's got pretty calm nerves. It's a huge step up in competition, but he's going to have a lot of opportunity at Arizona State, in my opinion. The thing I love about him the most is he really did shut his recruiting down. He told Jordan Ham that I'm done. And one of the ways that I know that that's true is we're 5 games into Del Valley season. He hasn't updated his huddle at all. He's not sending film out to anybody else. And he's had a pretty amazing start to 2025. He's at a career high in completion percentage with 63, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And his best game of the season so far came September 5th against Franklin, 23-41, 358 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for another 95 and 2 touchdowns on the ground in a 40-30 win. I like his makeup. I like his release. I think that he could be a very, very good quarterback in Tempe. It's going to be a big step up in competition, but I think he's got all the tools to be somebody that we're talking about for a long time. And it is Fetty. Fette is Fetty.
Fetty.
Yes.
I know there's been back and forth, and this podcast is not the best as far as track record goes when it comes to names. But when you said Blake Shapen, I was going to follow up and say, like, as long as he doesn't do what Blake Shapen did to the Arizona State baseball and skirt. But I love the fact that he hasn't updated his huddle. I actually didn't know that. I think that's awesome. And I think you continue to see, you see Jaden Fortier in the chat right now, like guys who want to be here, who will be here. And I know that that's what this coaching staff has really emphasized, and to get a guy as good as Jake, who is his high profile.
James Giggy, let's go.
Huh?
The chat's crazy right now.
What is up?
And did you get? We got a 1738.
Oh my god!
Little Fetty reference. I like that,
dude. This might be the best day in chat history. God, I can't wait to tell Totri about this. This rocks, dude. This absolutely. And I hope all the Sun Devil players that are in here see the love that's being poured out to y'all every single time that one of y'all jump in the chat. Got Colson too. We got people whose minds are blown. Like this is what the Sun Devil community is all about.
Everybody taking a break from Clash of Clans. Is that what's happening right now?
This is what happens on a bye week. Okay. Yeah. This is what happens on a bye week. I am definitely loving the tight ends showing up right now. This is awesome, man. This is great. So we have Jake. You got 2 more guys that might be in this chat a year from now.
Okay, so I got a guy who actually has the personality to come on your show and hold his own, and he's still a high schooler, but this dude is different. He is built different. His name is Cortavius Tissaby, and you might have seen him. He did an interview. He's kind of done the rounds, and he's got a big personality. He's also a very big football player. He is listed at 6'5.5", 250 on his recruiting profiles, but on Twitter he lists himself as 6'7", 305. So there's maybe a little discrepancy there. Maybe he put on that senior 50 already, but he has an 86-inch wingspan. He plays left tackle right now. This is another guy who hasn't updated his film. And his header on Twitter is him and his family hanging out with Coach Tuitele and Kenny Dillingham. So you know that he is all in. Cortavius Tissaby, he moves really, really well for somebody who has that height and that length. And I think he could translate to a very, very good tackle prospect. And that's what you want. You want that cornerstone tackle prospect. Everybody is looking for that. He chose Arizona State over some big time programs. We're talking Oregon, Oklahoma, and he's coming to Tempe, and he got big long arms, big personality, and he's coming out of Dallas, Texas. I think that he could be an all conference player as a Sun Devil.
Yeah. That's high praise, man. That's really high praise at a position that you definitely need there. Shimon saying, should we get Jason Mons in the chat? Is that even a question, Shimon?
No.
Do it. Yes.
Nobody wants to hear from Jason Mons.
Oh.
I hope he's watching.
Yeah, no. Well, wait till he's in the chat that you can say that again, Ralph.
I will. I will.
Oh man, this is awesome. Okay. Two great players, great names. I'm excited to hear your third.
Okay, so now Arizona State does have multiple tight end commits, and I hate to disappoint the tight end room. I am definitely excited about what Arizona State is bringing in at tight end, but I want to talk about somebody who might be able to cover a tight end and rush the quarterback, and even I mean, I don't know if there's anything he can't do, and he's probably the quietest, most underrated member of this recruiting class, and that's Oscar Aguilar out of Downey High School in California. 6'4", 230 pounds, fast, strong, mean, great vision, great discipline. Forced 5 fumbles last year, is on pace to break some single season tackling and career tackling records at his high school. And already this year, he had a game where Downey actually beat Orange Vista 35-34. And you want to know if an outside linebacker had an impact on this game? How is, in a 1-point win, 10 solo tackles and 4 tackles for a loss? When you watch his film, which again, he also has not updated, so I don't think he's out here looking for anything. He is mean as hell. This is it, dude. Like, this is the guy. If I had to put my chips in on one player that I will say this guy could come in, and if everything goes right for him health-wise, Oscar Aguilar is going to be, I mean, maybe like even a next level up from what Merlin Robertson brought to this team. So I'm very, very excited about him.
Whoa, Ralph, you are getting me excited. By the way, John Worth just gifted 1 PHNX Sports membership. Nick Azzato got it. Nick, if you are in chat, which you are right now, spam these emojis. AJ Ia just pulled up.
Oh my
AJ
God.
Ia is here, chat. Man, this is so cool. Everybody, listen, AJ, you want to know what's up? You want to know what the deal is? Chat, let them know what's up. Let them know. Spam those emojis. Let them know what we're doing. We're breaking down this upcoming recruiting class. But honestly, you mentioned, Ralph, at the very beginning, like how important are recruiting classes now when you have the transfer portal. And I look at some of the guys in the chat right now, and that's kind of my point of how excited it is. I mean, look how excited people are when
you got to ask them, since all the tight ends are in here, you got to ask them who their ASU tight end GOAT is. Who's the greatest ASU tight end of all time?
And why is it Shimon Mater? Let us know who is your ASU tight end go. Sean says I got to text Totri if I haven't already. No, I have not texted Totri. I cannot wait for him to get the crazy amount of FOMO. This is why you can't take a break on a bye week, man. You never know who might pull up on a bye week. By the way, all the tight ends that are in here right now, can we get like a tight end round table? Can we do that? Can we get all of y'all on the show at once, or can we pull up and just talk to the entire tight end room? Which, by the way, everybody's saying Shimon is the GOAT.
I like it.
That's what I like, man. That's what
Give him the ball.
Give him the ball. Oh, AJ says let's do it. AJ, let's do it. Listen, pull up. We'll do a whole tight end room. We'll do a little film breakdown. We'll talk some ball, and then we'll just talk about how great Shimon is and how he's the greatest to ever grace Tempe. I mean, I feel like that's a great podcast right there. This is great. We're going to keep this rolling here. We still have another special guest who's going to be joining. Plus, we're going to keep it cutting up with Ralph, because why would Ralph want to leave right now? I mean, we got Shimon Mater in the chat. What are we doing? Unless Ralph has something to do. But I want to remind everybody who is watching on TV that the party does always continue over at gophnx.com. If you're watching on YouTube, watching anywhere else, we're now going into overtime, so keep it right here on PHNX. Sun Devils, man, I don't even know what to do, Ralph. I don't even know what to do. I'm just sitting here and I'm like, what's going on? This was not on the show rundown today. I didn't plan for this.
No, this is incredible. I should have shut up the moment that everybody popped in here. We should have just took questions.
Oh, we got a coach. We got coach in here. Say one of the greatest coaches in here.
One of the greatest.
Hey, we got Hold My Cup saying go Phoenix Suns. Hey, listen, saying JP3 is the GOAT.
Somebody in here said that that Champ Westbrook played against Oscar Aguilar for a championship at 12
Coach Platt.
years back in the day.
Ooh, Coach Platt is in here. Oh yeah, Jeremy Platt. Let's go. Coach Platt in here. That's huge. That's huge.
He says, Jamon.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. You're literally not getting this anywhere else. You're not getting this anywhere else. Listen, we'll keep going crazy in the chat. I'm gonna text our special guest to pull up. Ralph, do you want to stick around for a little hot or not on a Friday night?
Yeah, I can do that. I do want to say before you transition, I'm going to watch some high school football. It's on the East Coast, not on the West Coast. But I do want to make sure, since I have this moment and this platform, to say go Independence Patriots. West Charlotte's a bunch of bums. Gonna get that dub tonight.
Oh, now we're gonna get the hate. We're gonna get the hate from them, man.
From the West Charlotte.
They're probably
PHNX fans.
Okay, so I have a question for the tight end room. Here. You're stuck on an island, okay? You can choose one other person from the tight end room to be on that island with you.
Oh.
With the chances to escape. Who are you picking to be deserted on an island with? Okay, I need an answer from AJ. I need an answer from Giggy. I need an answer from Shaman. I need an answer from Platt. I need an answer from Fortier. I need an answer from everybody here in the chat before we get to our special guests, before we get to hot or not. Colson says not AJ.
Is this like who to not be annoyed by, or who's going to actually help you get off the island?
It's got to be a little bit of both. Giggy says probably Harpool. Can't lie. I feel like Harpool is getting you out somewhere. Shaman says not Kamari.
Last resort is AJ.
AJ, the question is, if you had to pick one player from the tight end room to be abandoned on an island with, trying to get off the island, trying to survive, who are you picking? AJ got to be last resort. Sinjin's a good pick. I like Sinjin. AJ got to be a last resort is the funniest thing ever. AJ, you're kind of getting called out, man. You're kind of getting called out. I don't know what to tell you. Said they hate. Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll have questions. They're not going to be tight end related questions. We're going to do hot or not. If you're new around here, hot or not is when the deli man, aka producer extraordinaire, AJ says, got Harpool and Shaman. Good picks. Sean says, anybody know how to start a fire? Unk's in the room. That's crazy. What we're going to do here is we're going to welcome on a very special guest. The person who used to be giving us the hot or not topics, former Arizona State fantastic producer, PHNX Sun Devils producer extraordinaire, Captain Redbeard, who's on the road. We're going to bring him in here, and we're going to bring the deli man in. And the deli man, Shane Diefenbach, is going to give us 3 topics. And we are going to determine if those topics are hot or if they are not. And I need everybody to answer in the chat as well, including all of the Arizona State tight ends that are in the chat right now. So, deli man, can we get Captain Redbeard on screen here? Oh, just massive. The red beard is shining as always. How you doing, Kyle?
Doing well. I'm honored to speak to so many tight ends in the chat.
Dude, we picked a crazy day for Anthony Tosher to A, be gone, and B, to get this roundtable here. Deli man, with no further ado, no more waiting. What is the first hot or not topic?
Long road trips in a car, hot or not?
Well, we asked that because Kyle's currently traveling the country in a food truck, giving free food out to people on his way up to Alaska. So, Kyle, you can go first. Long road trips in a car, hot or not?
We've actually made it to Alaska.
Oh,
update, yeah. So I'm here right now.
Huge.
Yeah, I would go hot. you know, there's nothing better than a long road trip with your friends and, you know, living out of a car. I know it doesn't sound glamorous, but it's pretty fun. I'd recommend it.
Ralph?
The hottest every summer, 5,000-mile road trip, whole family. We pack them all in, all 4 kids. We gone everywhere, man, everywhere.
We got Golden Goose in chat saying most definitely hot. AJ saying no Jason Mons heartbreak emoji. Tight ends in the chat. If one of you had to drive, who's the best driver? Who's driving on a road trip? Who has aux? Let us know. Coach Mons said he's working. That's heartbreaking. Well, guess what? We do more shows, guys. We do more shows.
He's somewhere eating donuts.
You want the beef, man. You want the beef.
I do.
Coach Mons.
I do. He should be here. He should be here with his players.
The Jaden says not Shaman driving. We got the Geese man in the chat. Kevin Geesey says hot as a once a year thing, multiple times not hot. I do think it gets to a point where if you're doing too many, maybe you get a little car sick. Maybe it depends on who you're with. But overall, it's hot. But it's extra hot when you got good scenery around you. Like underrated, it's got to be a beautiful drive because sometimes in that stretch, the I-10 to California, and it's just like flat land. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Or the entire west side of Kansas.
There you go. Shaman says Kamari's banned from aux and also is wondering why he's getting slandered when it comes to driving. Why is Kamari banned from aux? You gotta let us know why he's banned. Colson says, I'll take aux runway for 10 hours.
We gotta do like everyone has to say something nice about Kamari at this point.
Yeah, everybody, you gotta say something nice about Kamari.
Say your favorite thing.
Kenny is the one who's playing Broadway for 10 hours. Shaman says Colson on the aux. Mari played TikTok sped up song. Oh my God, that's so funny. Kevin says, what about a road trip stream? We did a 24-hour stream. Do we do a road trip? Dude, Colson says Kamari smells like eggs. Come on, man. Come on,
you don't have to read these things.
That's funny, though. There are people listening on audio. They need to be involved in the chat.
Okay.
Shane, hot or not road trips for you?
I love them. I mean, I lived on a bus for 6 months. They're great.
What about like 6-month road trips? Just like, let's get like, you got like 12 hours in a car. Good?
It depends on where I'm going. If you're going somewhere not fun, you have to make the road trip worth it. Like you gotta plan around driving.
Do you guys play games while you drive? Do you listen to music? Like, what do you like? Do you prefer to talk? Like, what makes the road trip the best?
The random stuff you pull over for. So like, if you're like over by Picacho Peak, they got that ostrich farm or whatever. Just any random weird thing, like world's biggest Fabergé egg, or you ever drive past a thing that's like, we have a mystery animal. And you pull over and it's just like a big woodchuck or something. Like anything like that. Any random Americana is my favorite part of a road trip.
Captain Redbeard, what's the craziest thing you pulled off on the road to go see or do?
I mean, we pulled off we play a lot of Frisbee golf, and we pulled off to this vineyard one time in California. And the guy built a whole course in the vineyard, and it's like a private course and you have to pay to play. And it was pretty insane. And then we went and drank wine afterwards. It was a really good time.
I'm so jealous. I have such FOMO. But Totri's going to have FOMO. All right. That's hot or not. Topic 1, Deli Man, hot or not. Topic 2.
Like overwhelmingly loud pumped in music during games or sound effects. Specifically football, because basketball, we all know it's not hot. It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah. By the way, if you the tight ends in the chat, how do y'all like? Let us know how y'all feel about overly loud, pumped in music during games. What do you think, Ralph?
I'm not that far away from University of South Carolina, so I'll go to games every once in a while. They play Sandstorm like 50 times, and once or twice is cool because they shut the light off and there's strobes and everything. By about the 10th time, I want to die. So I'm not the biggest fan of overkill.
Redbeard?
I mean, I love it. It gets you back in the game. If the game isn't interesting, it can be a good way to get the fans, back into the game and hype up the players too. So I'm a big fan.
It's like the right moment and the right song. But if you had to tell me to either eliminate it completely or to keep it, I'm keeping it. Right. So I definitely think that you could find the right moment, which, by the way, let's find the right moment to thank the tight end room. They got to go do a tight end workout. They got to go, I don't know, do what they need to do to be the best team in the Big 12, whatever. But the whole crew pulled up minus Jason Mons. So, Ralph, we're going to have you publicly tweet at Jason Mons for not showing up. But big thank you to all the tight ends for being here. Big thank you to Ralph, to Kyle, to the Deli Man, to the chat. Greatest show ever, especially without Totri. I mean, that just is the cherry on top of the sundae, right? What is our final hot or not topic? Or I guess, Deli Man, what's your take? What hot or not overtly loud music pumped into football stadiums?
I like sound effects more.
What sound effects?
I love the bell. The bell or the gong is like my favorite thing on third down. It's a staple anywhere you go. Last topic. Sorry, I have a bite of apple right now.
Just go ahead, finish it on mic. Go ahead.
No thanks. Last topic is fake plants.
Hot. Fake plants are hot. Real plants are hot. Fake plants are hot. Why are you guys shaking your head? You're wrong.
I'm out here living this like dad gardener life. I'm team real plant.
Redbeard?
I'm team get your hands in the soil.
Yeah, it's got to be real, man. Like, you can't fake it.
Well, you can. And listen,
you can try, yeah.
I'm still hashtag team real plant. Like, I'm not anti real plant, but like, I got a lot of plants in my background here, and I would prefer not to have to maintain them, at least for these specific plants in the corner of this room. So I'm pro fake plant, but I'm not anti real plant. I think you could be pro both.
I'm always mad when I get tricked. I think that's what it comes down to. I think I'm anti fake plant because I've been tricked too many times.
It's a skill issue.
Yeah, maybe I've taken a bite of some model home
apple.
Yeah. Some styrofoam, painted styrofoam. Maybe it's happened a few times. Maybe.
Oh my gosh. Deli Man, hot or not, fake plants?
I'm pretty indifferent on the topic, even though it's my own. I have fake plants. I have real plants. I think they both do the job.
They're both good. Hot take, plants, period. Good. Big fan of just plants. Real, fake. We need more real ones in the world, but not the fake one's fault.
Hey, speaking of pumped in noise, can I'm going to spread some propaganda real quick. Something I would love to see happen. Everybody loves the curtain as distraction, right? I mean, maybe to some people it's worn thin, but like everybody has really great memories of the beginning of that and bringing in celebrities and everything. The Go Devils Go chant should be alumni or celebrity led, or just notable person led. Just like
you.
Take me out to the bulk. No, not me. But like it's Gus Farwell's thing, right? Like I think we should make a big deal of it, and we should have a guest every single game that actually like gets to lead the Go Devils Go. I think that would make a lot more people buy into that, and it would feature some people, get more people involved. Yeah, you could even make it like an NIL thing, because since we do it about 10 times a game, if you donate $500, you get to go out there and do the Go Devils Go right out on the sideline.
Oh, I mean, I don't hate that at all. I would pay for Captain Redbeard to lead a Go Devils Go. I mean, that would fire me up. I mean, listen, I don't want this show to end, but unfortunately, it is time, guys. I mean, it's the end of Hot or Not. The tight ends are all gone. You know, the show is over, but I feel like we didn't get a full catch up from Captain Redbeard. Ralph, if you want to stay on, you can. If you want to jump, all good. But I think the people would like an update from Captain Redbeard and his adventures. So, Ralph, either thank you for staying or thank you for jumping on. Appreciate you, man. Go enjoy some high school football out there tonight. Appreciate Ralph joining and helping us out as always.
West Charlotte Lions going down. See you guys.
See you, Ralph.
Charlotte Lions slander here on PHNX Sun Devils. Captain, my captain. Just let everybody know, how was your trip? How are you doing? And what are your thoughts on this Arizona State football team?
Trip was good. It was pretty long. It was like 4 months on the road, and we went to 19 national parks, which was pretty cool. Yeah. it's you don't realize how beautiful the west of the U.S. is until you go into 19 national parks, and then you sort of realize, wow, there's some beautiful parts of this country. But it was really good. It was you live with two dudes 24/7 for 4 months. Can get a little old, but it was pretty good. I don't know if you, me, and Totri could do that, but
Dude, I was gonna say, I feel like you got like a little bit of like a taste of that for this ASU football season, because it kind of felt like we were living together for a couple of months last year. But last year's last year, Captain. This year's this year. Have you had a chance to watch the team while you've been out on the road?
Yeah, I've watched every game. I said to Totri when I was on the show last that they were going to be 11-1, and that can still be true. They dropped one game. It's going to be a tough schedule, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that game that they lost? I didn't get to hear you guys' opinions on that one. Sam didn't play great. Like, what was the sort of takeaway on that one?
Well, let me just say, one of I think our all-time post-game shows against Mississippi State, I was a little all over the place, a little emotional, possibly a little intoxicated, possibly. Shane Diefenbach can testify to that. It was a tough loss, but they're one play away from being undefeated, and Mississippi State has turned out to be a very good team, not like the best team in the SEC, but certainly a very frisky team. And the SEC almost beating number 15 Tennessee this past weekend. I think they fixed a lot since then. I think that loss is very much left in the past now, and now the focus is red zone issues, special teams, and offensive line. And now they got the bye week and they play Utah. You said a daunting schedule, Captain. The next 4 games are against teams that have a combined record of 17-1. You said they're 11-1 on the season. Do you think they go undefeated in this stretch and they keep your dream alive?
You know me, I never back down from my bets, so I'm gonna keep 11-1. They're gonna pull it off. They're gonna tighten up those issues, and they're gonna go get those dubs.
That's what I like to hear. And the chat is loving seeing Captain Redbeard back. People are loving the show. We had Kyle on, we had Brad Denny on, we had Ralph on, we had all the ASU tight ends in the chat. And guess what? The best part, no Anthony Totri, nowhere to be found, off scampering around on vacation, completely missing out. I told him, Kyle, I said, you're going to have FOMO. Like something, we're going to get silly. Something fun's going to happen. And I would say we've delivered big time. I'm going to ask you the question that Totri always asks people. Do you have a message to PHNX Sun Devil Nation and anything about this team before we jump off here?
Yeah. I mean, last year was last year, like you said. This is, a different team in many ways this year. And, keep strong. Even if there's weak moments, there's been weak moments this year. Like, you got to be persistent. They dropped that game, and I don't know. I would just stay faithful to the team and trust in Kenny, and that's, that'll get you a long ways.
I'm fired up. Chat's fired up. What an incredible show. Thank you to Kyle. Thank you to Ralph. Thank you to Brad. Thank you to the Deli Man. Thank you to the tight ends. Thank you to everybody in the chat, the members, the non-members, the diehards, anybody that hit that like button, that hit that subscribe button, that's going to be tuned in as we are back on Monday. And Totri is back, and I cannot wait to hear what he has to say about all of this as we build up for ASU Utah on the road. 7:15 kickoff next Saturday. But of course, you can keep it tuned to PHNX. Very busy day here at the station. You've got, of course, the Mercury Finals, Game 1. You've got preseason Game 1 for the Suns. U of A has the red and white scrimmage post-game show. If you are a U of A fan who's in here hating, make sure you go ahead and you check that out as well. D-backs just started, of course, their off-season coverage. We've got Rising still kicking as well. And ASU hockey tonight at 7:30 against number 5 Penn State, number 14 ASU hosts at Mullet. That's on NHL Network. That's on Fox 10. That's a lot of places. It's a huge, huge game with lots of coverage. Make sure you show out and support for your Sun Devils. So let's get out of here. You can go ahead and follow the show at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. You can follow Kyle. Are you still at K Coop Sports?
No, I'm Kyle Cooper _AK, I think.
There we go. Kyle Cooper _ AK. You can follow Duddy Man at Shane Deef.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah. Okay. Go Devils in peace.
We all silly like the mayor.